Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
Welcome to another edition of Carnivore Radio. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with the esteemed Dr. Eric Lopkin. And a lot of things going on in the political realm. Obviously, we have the situation in Iran, and the list goes on with the war with Russia. But politically, we did have Trump's endorsement, at least so far, has been paying dividends, has been catastrophic to people that go against him. They have Massey went down to defeat. And, I knew he was kind of an obstructionist to the Trump agenda, which is, worse things have happened. But then when he gave his concession speech, this guy I'm glad he's gone, quite frankly, and it has nothing to do with Trump. He basically said, I tried to contact my challenger, the victor in the race, but I couldn't get him it was hard to locate him in Tel Aviv. And on that point, Britt Hume, I would say more traditional Republican, not a Trumper, I don't believe. He says that Massey is a loser on stilts, and he commented on his concession speech as disgusting. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Massey was always more than just an obstructionist. I honestly believe he had full-blown Trump derangement syndrome.
You're correct.
No matter what Trump did, Massey was going to be against it. If Trump had cured cancer, Massey would come out in favor of cancer.
Yep. Trump. Whoa, before, doctor. What was the motivation? There's always got to be a motive. Yeah, you can go against Trump like Collins did it, but I don't think she has Trump derangement syndrome. He had it. So what was the motivation? It kind of doesn't line up.
I honestly don't know. I guess there are a number of Republicans who have blocked Trump moves that don't have Trump derangement syndrome. You mentioned Collins, Rand Paul, Murkowski. These are folks, Rand Paul he's blocked a number of Trump moves over the past, I believe, 4 or 5 months that I don't agree with, but they're absolutely consistent with what he's done in his career.
Correct.
So it had nothing to do with Trump. It was the issue. And that's what our Congress people and senators should be doing. They should be voting based on their issues, not who the president is.
Yes, I would agree with that. And flipping a little bit, speaking of the president, you have to agree the last year, he's been pretty good. I don't know if it's the chief of staff or what have you, maybe people like Rubio influencing him. But it seems like as we prep for the podcast that he may be coming a little bit unhinged. And you talk about this review about, this whole China trip. We talked about, I think that he kind of got played. And I think China knew how to play him with the grandiose, welcoming and blah, blah, fanfare. And in the end, he didn't really get much, did he?
No, he really didn't. And it's not just about going to China and not coming back with much. This was a full court press. It wasn't just Trump going to China. Hegseth went, Rubio went. He had a whole bunch of his administration with him. On top of that, you had, I believe, Larry Ellison went with them. Tim Cook, I know, went with them.
Definitely, yes.
There was a number of high-powered business people. And the only agreement that anybody has been able to point to is that China's going to buy some airplanes from Boeing. which, by the way, I'm not even sure is such a great deal. Do we want anything of our technology going to China
I
at
always
this
thought
point?
about that. You know something? I mean, yeah, is it military level tech? No, but it's still highly advanced technology. All they do is re-engineer it, and not really a good thing. I'm not so
No,
sure I like that. That's not too bright. And we've done that through history. We're not the brightest bulbs in the Christmas tree. I mean, giving state-of-the-art weapons to Turkey, maybe not a great idea, genius. And others. The list
yeah,
goes well beyond.
we've done this ad infinitum. Now Trump is done it with China, but it was that one deal was the only thing that they could point to. Meanwhile, Trump comes home, and I believe the next day, Putin goes to China. Putin and Xi Jinping sign at least 40 different agreements for energy, for infrastructure, for media allowances, for free media between the two, or what they call free. And then they start making their speeches where Putin calls out the fact that Russia is still a stable producer of energy for China, despite all of Trump's sanctions and everything Trump has tried to do. Xi Jinping makes comments that neither Russia or China approve of any country making unilateral decisions on international situations. Again, a shot at Trump with Iran. And if you remember, on the plane ride back, Trump was talking about the fact that, yes, China wants the Strait of Hormuz open. They're going to get involved. It's like, no, clearly they want the strait open, but they don't want us anywhere near it.
Yeah, 100%. And back to the Boeing deals, I'm not so sure it wouldn't have happened anyway, for very good reasons, because China makes some of the components. Probably would
Yes.
make sense anyway. So, yeah, hopefully he's not becoming unhinged. And you know why that scares me? It's not about Trump. I believe if the Democrats ever get anywhere near power, you can kiss your ass goodbye.
Yeah, the current state of the Democratic Party is terrifying.
Terrifying.
But I think somebody needs to take Trump aside and just get him to focus. Because, first of all, he should never have gone to China. He should have been focused on wrapping up Iran.
100%. Yes.
China, that was a useless trip. Then he should not have gotten himself distracted by all the primaries yesterday. He was out endorsing, he was campaigning for his guys in the primaries. Now, yes, they all won, but what's going on with Iran? What's going on with inflation because of the fuel prices going up? That's where he needs to be focused, not taking out folks that he doesn't agree with.
I completely agree with that, but I also think you talk about him getting played with China. I'm not so sure he's not getting played by Iran and the Gulf countries. I mean, he's got to wrap this thing up like ASAP. This cannot go on for, he says, I got all the, no, you don't have all the time in the world, because you're 100% right. Gas prices, it's going to really, he's got to wrap this up in the next month.
Yeah, if he does not wrap it up quickly, he can kiss the midterms goodbye.
Thank you very much.
He's going to lose the Senate. He'll lose the House. Redistricting be damned. If prices remain as high as they are, and the Fed minutes that were released today actually said the Fed is looking at inflation and saying if it stays at this level, they're going to have to raise interest rates.
That's called a recession.
This is going to kill the Republicans in the midterms.
Yes. And again, yes. And it's all unnecessary. I'm not talking about the war, but I think he's being, I mean, how long do you have to wait? I mean, they're obviously just extending things. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they're just stalling while they rebuild their drones.
There you go. So you're speaking of the state of the Democratic Party. It's kind of interesting, scary. You have the main race, Collins against Plattner. There's another leaked video, and I'll clean it out, but basically saying how when he's in certain situations, he can't help to masturbate. And what's funny about that is the Democrats. What does it take, Dr. Lopkin, for the Democrats to walk away from you? It
I
takes a
don't
lot.
know. Apparently, actually, I think at this point, the only thing you could do to get the Democrats to walk away from you is agree with Trump.
That's probably it.
That's, they walked away from Manchin, they walked away from cinema, they're trying to force Fetterman out. The only thing they all had in common was periodically they agreed with Trump. Meanwhile, you've got this Nazi swastika toting guy in Maine who's talking openly about, oh, he can't help but masturbate, and they're all in for him.
Yeah, yes, and actually, Pocahontas said this at a rally. She goes, "He's my kind of guy." Really, she shouldn't be giving any dating advice because that's scary. And the thing about her, Elizabeth Warren, I always thought, like, obviously it was a DEI situation because of the whole claiming she's a Native American. Because the more I see her, she's not particularly bright.
No, she's never been particularly bright.
She's kind of an idiot.
When she said he's my kind of guy, I don't even believe that she knew anything about him at the time.
100%.
All she knew was he was running on the Democratic ticket against Collins. That was it. And, oh, yeah, my kind of guy, without any look at who the person is, because at this point, they don't care. What they really want is to run a whole bunch of coffee cups with D on it.
That's 100%. And speaking of the Democratic Party, again, I think it is a real scary situation. They become a radical. We've been on the air together, both terrestrial and the podcast realm of things. And it was a little like biting along the edges when we discussed that. Yeah, the Democrats are getting a little bit too liberal, too far to the left. Now they're a full-blown radical organization, the people at the helm. You have a Democrat running for the Texas House, Maureen Galindo, and she basically stated that we should clear out the ICE facilities and replace that with housing compounds a la concentration camps for Zionists, which actually means Jews. And do you know what the Democrats? They're blaming the Republicans.
Oh, yes.
Jeffries, the Walmart Obama. Yes, he's blaming the Republicans. Not running away from it, but yeah.
Oh, no, they're embracing it. And I think the ultimate example of what has happened to the Democratic Party is actually taking place in the Connecticut gubernatorial race. Because I'm sure most of our listeners will remember Senator Joe Lieberman.
Mm-hmm.
When Joe Lieberman left the Democratic Party and ran as an independent, it was because Ned Lamont beat him in the primary, running as somebody who was more liberal than Joe Lieberman.
Much more liberal.
Now, yes. Now, Ned Lamont is the governor of Connecticut. And for the first time in over 45 years, the incumbent governor is being primaried. And he's being primaried by somebody further to the left than he is.
Okay, you're leaving this fine state. Couldn't blame you. So if he is defeated, which I hope he is, because I just think I love the comical element of it. Connecticut's already on the ropes. I have no idea why it's even doing as well. It would be we already talked about the last place in human history, at least in the United States history, that you would ever relocate to if you're a corporation. Am I correct in that?
Oh, yes.
The bottom five.
Chief, well, not quite bottom five, actually. Chief Executive just came out with their annual rankings of states, the best states for business. Connecticut was 42.
Oh.
Who did worse than Connecticut?
New York.
New York, California. Those were 49 and 50. Oregon, Washington, Illinois, Massachusetts.
What do these all have in common?
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
And New Jersey also finished below.
They got a psychotic governor, by the way. So he's looking at the Democratic Party and the state of where they are. We talked about, like, why do Jews vote for the Democrats? What are they crazy? Well, I was wrong, Dr. Lopkin. It's called Jexodus. and it's a movement that's picking up a lot of steam. And I was shocked that 45% of New Yorkers voted for Trump. Shocking. And nationwide, it's a 50-50 split. Democrats were 85% Democrats. So there is some hope for the Jewish constituency.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same thing that happened with the African American community. It's the same thing that happened with the Hispanic community. The Democrats promised so much for so long and delivered nothing. And now Jews are actually looking at this as a danger, because as much anti-Semitism as we've seen from the far right in terms of things like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, it's so much worse now on the left. I mean, in fact, the only thing the radical left and the radical right actually agree on is anti-Semitism.
Yeah, but I'm going to, not just because I'm biased, you're 100% Candace Owens. I have no idea what happened to Tucker Carlson. I used to watch him. He probably should be hospitalized, but I'm not a professional in that area. I think it's more on the right. Could it get bigger? Yeah, and it is accelerating on the right. There's no question, but it's mainstream in the Democratic Party.
Oh yeah, no, that's my point. It's on the right. It's still a fringe thing.
Yes,
where actually, go back to World War II. That was where you expected to find anti-Semitism, was the radical right. Not anymore. Now it's all on the left, and it's not even so much the radical side anymore.
Correct. And here's the troubling part of it is right now they're only giving kind of lip service, which means they're ushering in when they're actually going to support such activity.
Yeah, you're seeing more and more anti-Semitic Democrats elected to office. And again, any Jew with somebody, relative that went through World War II knows what happened, knows what happens when the military starts this, the politicians start this. This is why I pointed out a number of weeks ago, Germany is talking about becoming the strongest military, building up their military. So it's the strongest military in Europe. And at the same time, they're releasing a report how anti-Semitism is blossoming in Germany. And I'm like, we've seen this before. It doesn't end well.
We've already seen the movie and we don't need to see the sequel. Last point in the international arena, the Department of Justice has indicted Castro. So please, Doctor, I know what it means, duh, but I mean, what does it really mean? What's the point?
I think mostly it's symbolic.
I agree.
It is, they indicted him on attempted murder charges, I believe murder charges. He was attempting to kill several U.S. nationals. It's more of a message. One, it tells the international community, look, we don't have to bomb you, but that doesn't mean we're going to let you get away with these things. You're going to face justice. And two, it's a message to the current Cuban regime, basically cut the crap and, come to the table.
Yeah, I also think probably not, not a big part of it, but definitely a part of it would be possibly to justify some military or blockade kind of actions.
It's possible.
I'm not saying.
Given that Castro wasn't in power anymore, I think that's going to be a heavy lift for them to prove.
Well, if you're going to do that, I mean, you could arrest half the world.
Yeah.
Well, like where does it stop? Well, anyway, Dr. Lopkin, I'm glad that you're returning with us next week. That's awesome. And hopefully all our listeners will be returned as well. And they can be a part of the show, can't they?
Yes. Let's hear what you have to say. You can message us at xvadio.com/connect. You can also message us through the Carnivore Radio Facebook page. And of course, wherever you find podcasts, don't forget to like and share and subscribe to the channels. You can catch every episode at the Carnivore Radio website, xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lopkin, and I'll see you next week.
We'll see you then.